welcome. I'm Peggy, and we have a busy half hour ahead with some phone numbers and some information for you. And a little bit later on, Jack Logan is coming, and you know, Jack started this whole thing called Put Down the Guns, Young People. And I admire him so much for what he is accomplishing. And it is spreading from just here in the upstate to other places as well. And he also has brought a young man with him who is an innocent victim of a gunshot, shot in the back. And he's 14 years old. We should not have these things happening in our country. Anyway, before we do that, I want to introduce two people. I've never had anything on the Peggy Denny Show about wrestling. That's right. And so we have a pro wrestler here.
That's me.
Jay Eagle.
Yes, ma'am.
A lot of people may know Jay or know of him. And he teaches people to get ready to be pros.
Yes.
Yeah. And also Jason Blackwell. And you're here in the Spartanburg area, and you have a school for a wrestling school.
Yes.
Now, I know some of our public high schools have wrestling in the high schools, and a lot of kids get involved. And if you give young people something to be involved in, whether it's sports or whatever it is, they are not as likely to get hooked on behavior that's not appropriate.
Right.
And I know that that's one of the things that you are interested in.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, we got the community kids that walk up and down the streets till we opened up our building. Now we have wrestling shows every Saturday night. It's kind of a Spartanburg tradition.
Okay.
Been going on there before we got into business. But I've been doing it 37 years, and my wife wanted me to quit traveling, so I come home to Spartanburg. We opened up the school. And there's some kids live, breathe, and eat the wrestling. But we're from an old school. It's not what you see on TV, the WWF. We have a lot of kids coming out of high school, amateur wrestling, and coming out of college, and we train them to move on to the big times to make real money.
Yeah, yeah.
And we've got some that went on and done that, and we're proud of our school, and it's 7 to 9 every Tuesday night, and it's called the Chop Shop, the American Pro Wrestling Boot Camp, as you might say. And we have a lot that train one night and we never see them again because they realize how physical it is.
It's too tough.
But a lot of them's got it in their heart, so they stick with it. And go ahead, Jason. I know you want to talk about it.
Just Jason, tell me what you do.
Well, I'm the host and the ring announcer for the Saturday night shows, and anything that kind of deals with pushing the promotion. I do a lot of that on Facebook, which we are on Facebook under APW, American Pro Wrestling. And like he said, we do the shows on Saturday at 8 p.m. and that is at 380 Whitney Road in Spartanburg, South Carolina, which is Highway 221. And the big thing that I've learned and seen since I've been there in my short time with APW is, especially on the training nights, you take the children that need something to do. And as I've discussed with many people in life, a lot of times you stay in trouble because you got nothing to do. If you're working or you're learning how to wrestle or you're doing something productive, you don't have time to be in trouble. And the youth of today, they need something to do to stay out of trouble.
It's something physical.
And it's physical, it keeps you in shape, it keeps your mind sharp. A lot of people don't know this, but wrestling is not just two grunts grabbing on each other and pushing each other. These two guys are working together, they're smart, and they have to be careful to protect themselves and other people in the business.
And there's a psychology
to it. So it isn't
to it.
as easy as it might look.
It is nowhere near as easy.
No, I'm 60 years old. I want to be 18, but in my mind,
Don't we all?
Yes. But I think long as I keep going, I can still do it. I'm actually the oldest active wrestler in our group right now. And I've been blessed. The Lord's kept me physical all my life, and now my son he's getting into it. So when I'm sort of thinking of retiring, I'm kind of keeping it going because of the kids. That's what keeps me going. And in our everyday life, with doing what I do, I meet people in Walmart that has been to the shows that recognize me, and they want to know more about it. And that's what we do, you know. We enjoy working with the community, And we do fair shows, we do benefits, we have a lot of church youth
So like
groups.
you go to the state fair or the...
Yes, well, all of them. We're at this week we're at
Yeah.
the Spartanburg Piedmont Fair.
Okay.
And we do a lot, like I say, a lot of benefits, people raising money for different things. And, you know, we enjoy doing it. It's been a part of my life for 36, 37 years. And my wife will tell you right away, she's not into wrestling, she married into it.
Okay.
But she's great, and she supports it. And
so your whole family's involved in it.
well, yes.
And Jason, you are a part of this, but you don't really wrestle.
No, I don't get in there with them boys.
Okay.
Jason don't take no bumps. That's
But
the
if
phrase
you-
I got.
and your program is every week?
Every Saturday night
every
at
Saturday
8
night
p.m.
At 8 p.m.
The doors open at 6:30. We have gospel groups to sing from 7 to 8. We have karaoke. We have
And this is in Spartanburg.
in Spartanburg, 380 Whitney Road on Highway 221,
Okay.
across
Okay.
from Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Okay.
And,
And then there's something else you do one night a week or something? you have?
Yes, we train. We train
Okay,
the
okay.
youth that wants to get
So
into it.
if anybody wants more information, I have the number 864-578-0561.
Yes, ma'am.
And I thank you all
Thank
for
you,
coming.
ma'am.
And thank
I've
you for-
never shaken hands with a real pro wrestler.
I've always wanted to shake Peggy's hand.
There you go.
Well, good luck to you, and thank you for the outreach to young people.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Now, we're going to go to a break, and talking about an outreach to young people. We've got it. Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us, because we have two people here. One young man I had not met before, but Jack Logan is here, and Jack and I talk on the phone. He's been on this show several times, and he started, and I got it right here, this shirt, "Put Down the Guns, Young People." And God bless him for what he's doing. And it started here in the community, and it's spreading. Jack, God bless you.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you
Denny.
for what you're doing.
Thank you.
We've gotten so, it doesn't matter whether you're a teenager or a senior citizen. You have to think about, wait a minute, am I safe going downtown? Am I safe in my car anymore? This world has become too violent, too much going on that shouldn't be. And I want to also have you see a special young man who's here with us today, C.J. Mulhern. And he is a student at Berea Middle School. He's 14 years old, and he was a football star. And we're going to get you back to being a football star again. Thank you for coming. Now, you were shot
Yes, ma'am.
in the back. And you haven't really been released from the hospital yet, but you came to be with us today. And you are making progress.
Yes, ma'am.
What happened? Can you tell us what happened?
Well, I was at a friend's house, and
You were at a friend's house, yeah.
and I remember laying down and went to sleep, and heard thought it was someone knocking on the door, and then I realized it wasn't, and I looked up and I couldn't feel my legs, and I passed out, and the next day I was in the hospital.
Now wait a minute. You were at your friend's house. What time was this?
It was around 5
5 o'clock in the afternoon?
in the morning.
Oh, in the morning. So you were kind of staying over at your friend's house.
Mhm.
Okay. And were there other young people, teenagers there?
Mm. There were about 3.
Okay. And Jack, what did they do? They knocked on the door?
At least that's what I thought, but it was the
But it
gun
wasn't a
rounds.
knock, it was a gunshot.
Mhm.
And you thought they were knocking on the door.
Mhm.
Did they, and nobody has ever been caught?
No, not as of this date. I just spoke to the detective handling the case, Detective Hammett, I think that was his name, and he said he have a number of leads, but no one has been called.
So you mean this person just goes through a neighborhood and shoots guns with.
Right. I guess it's just like it's going on in Chicago. You know, that's the first thing I thought. Shooting innocent people, and especially when a child gets hit.
So I mean, this wasn't. You hadn't been in trouble with somebody and they were out to get you or anything like this.
No, ma'am. They think it was the girlfriend's boyfriend, ex.
The girlfriend's
That
ex
lives at that
boyfriend.
mobile home, the house he was visiting.
And the girl lived at this house where you were, but you weren't her boyfriend. Okay. It gets complicated. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But were there any adults or parents around? So now what is you figure by the winter, maybe January, February, you will be able to walk around and they've given you hope that you're going to be okay. Well, we're going to pray for you. But Jack, this is just one incident.
Yes.
And we've heard about people downtown being accosted with.
You know, Miss Denny, during the summer months when kids was out of school,
Yeah.
there was no gun violence among teens. It didn't begin until the day before school started this year when there was a Pizza Hut delivery guy got shot in the face in Greenville County by a 14 and 15-year-old. And from thereafter, it's just been nothing but since school started, kids are being caught with guns, just like in Boiling Springs yesterday, and then incidents downtown. And I don't have an answer for it, other than I have to think back what Charles Stanley said this past Sunday on his television talk
What's
show.
that?
He said that there's either no Bible in the home, and if there's a Bible, that Bible have not been opened. So our kids are living under too many false gods, such as music and television and all the rest.
Games.
Right, and
they're
games.
all violent.
And that's what has got to stop. There's no end in sight. You know, parents have got to start being parents.
Yeah.
But when it come down to senseless shooting, like this child was shot, I have no mercy on any adult
I don't
that
either.
drive down the road and shoot a child. And again, like we had the 15-year-old boy killed right here in Taylor's. 2 or 3 days after he was shot, we could have had 2 kids killed by homicide right here in Greenville with him if he had died. And a 12-year-old was charged with his
yeah, this is the
shooting.
problem. The crime is moving, so, 12-year-olds running around with
Right.
guns.
right.
And I don't know what, the family has fallen apart in the country,
Right.
in the United States.
Right.
And we've taken God out of our society.
That's right.
You can't pray before a football game. You can't
Right.
do the things that, when I grew up, those were normal things people did.
That's right.
And so you have started this movement. I call it a movement. I
Right.
don't know what you call it. Put down the guns, young people.
Right.
And you started by going into neighborhoods
Right.
that would obviously be troubled.
Right.
There'd be kids there running around, and maybe the parents, they're
That's right.
non-existent.
That's right. This summer we did a lot of grassrooting through the entire upstate instead of holding so many rallies and we were successful because at that time there was not any violence going on with children or teens with gun
Okay.
violence.
All right.
And we felt that was going one-on-one because we looked for violence to be in the summertime because there was so much free
Yeah.
time, with children,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it didn't happen.
But now it's picked up.
It's picked up, and it's hidden areas that we never thought it would be in, such as Taylor's, such as down in Clinton, where a teenager was killed,
Yeah.
and kids in
Okay, now
Boiling Springs.
all right, put down the guns, young people. You've been giving out gun locks,
Right,
which were donated
right,
to you.
right.
You have the backing of police officers.
Right.
and all,
We've got
right?
gun locks from the sheriff's department throughout the upstate, also from different gun stores who sell guns to donate us gun locks. And that was surprising because I thought they were against our organization, but they told me no, they didn't want to see no innocent child hurt by guns. And even some NRA members have assisted us with gun locks as well.
Okay, now that's one thing. What progress are you making? Put down the guns, young people. How can people out there just everyday people. How can we get involved? It's more than money.
Right. Well, you can get involved with us by going on our Facebook page or calling me on the telephone and saying that you would like to help, and we'd be more than glad, because we need these streets filled every day talking to young people about gun violence, because I see it on an increase unless people get back to the basics of the Bible.
Yeah, so the number is 864-363-1030, and there it is if you want to make a note of it.
303. 864-303-1030.
303-1030. Okay,
Right.
it's an easy number to remember.
Right.
And you want just everyday people to come forward and try to join in, to be a part of this.
Right.
And you have law enforcement backing.
Right.
And do you have regular, I know in the past you've had like meetings or where
Right.
people can come and get more information.
Right. Again, we haven't held any rallies during the summer.
No, but you're going to start doing that.
But we are, matter of fact, we have one scheduled in 2 weeks, and it will be in West Greenville.
Okay.
But we plan to move on out into like Greer and Taylor's, because of the diversity of people and the group of people we never thought would be involved in gun violence. And we feel that there's a need to reach out. Even down in Clinton, Fox 21 was telling me that the chief said that they didn't expect, the type of gun violence with kids down there. But one can never say, because no one never know what goes on inside of a home.
See, that's part of our big problem.
Right.
Is the families are
Right.
falling apart.
Right. That's absolutely right.
So you started by going into these neighborhoods. Now,
Right.
do you still do that?
We still going to.
You find a neighborhood that you think is questionable.
Right, but like I said again, now we have, since all of this gun violence have increased in other areas that we never thought,
Yeah.
and now we're going into every one of them. We don't care if it's a upscale subdivision or whatever, predominantly, white area,
It's in all
Hispanics.
segments of society.
All segments, that's where the gun violence is at right now. And downtown Greenville, they are coming from all walks of life committing gun violence. And that it shouldn't be that way.
And some of these kids, it's like BB guns, isn't
Right.
it? They're not real guns,
Right.
but if somebody if you're walking down the street and maybe you've been downtown for a concert or a show or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and you go to get your car in some parking lot or a back street, and they pull a gun, you don't know whether it's a real gun or a BB gun.
And kids should have knowledge that what you just said is so true. Pulling a BB gun or a water gun at another person, they're gonna get the same penalty as if it was a real gun.
Really?
Right. That's the way the law read in this state. They're gonna get the same penalty because, like you say, the person on the other end, they don't know if it's a water gun or a BB gun, and they may respond and shoot in self-defense. And if they don't, if they get arrested, they're gonna get the same penalty as if it was a real gun.
All right, now do we have a curfew downtown?
Well, there were
Jack?
the 10 o'clock curfew, and that's what has stunned me, that these people have violated the curfew. And but the police cannot be every place every
No.
time something happened. And Chief Will Fong and her people, they're doing a great job downtown. And we've worked hand in hand with them up to recently to the shootings downtown. The citations on kids violating the curfew had went down significantly.
Okay. But
Right.
there is a curfew in place.
There is a curfew in place.
Is it 10 o'clock?
It's 10 o'clock.
And is it for every night or just weekends?
Just weekends.
On the weekends?
Right. Just weekends.
And it's for what age? Is there an age
I
group?
think it's under the age of 20. I think it's on any teen or child.
Anybody, and a
have-
teenager,
right,
you just
right,
can't be there.
Right, unless you're, with a...
And around Falls Park and all
right.
that, which is such a popular, wonderful
Right.
place to be.
Right.
And we cannot allow this to destroy our
Right.
freedom to enjoy what we have.
Right, because myself and no one else should want to see a child go to detention, and they just open up a new one here in Greenville, and they have a place for them. Now, if they choose not to listen, they have a place to put them in jail. Right here in Greenville. They just opened up a brand new detention just for juveniles, and I find that sad. But on yesterday, speaking with the county administrator, which I have to agree with him, that's a place to put them, you know, for a while till they learn some sense. Because we can't have people just going around here shooting other people. And but again, I still blame adults, Miss Denny, how these kids get their hands on a gun. Just like the little 12-year-old boy that had that gun out there and shot that 15-year-old boy. There's no way that child should have had his hands on that
CJ,
gun.
you don't have any idea who shot you. You don't know whether it was a teenager or an older person?
It had to be an older person because they were driving a car.
Okay, so whoever shot you was in a car.
Mm.
And they didn't get out of the car. They just rode through the neighborhood and shot? Is that...
They say they got out the car and stood in the front yard.
And they got out of the car and stood in the front yard?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And shot 9 rounds.
9 rounds? And then they got back in the car and drove away. And you have no clue. Of course, obviously,
they have no clue.
Pitch black, and nobody's going to identify them.
Right. But I hope I pray and hope they find out who did this, because this child has gone through a lot of pain. He's missing school.
And you were a good student.
Right.
You are a good student, right?
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
So you want to get back to that.
Yes. And I just want to see whoever done this, they should be man or woman enough to come forward and say what they admit their guilt. Because I plan, once the arrest is made, that to be first down there on a court date to remind them of that date that this child went through and still going through a lot of pain and suffering. I want to see them get the maximum sentence for the charge when they're an arrest made. Anyone takes someone's life, they should go to prison. They should go to prison.
Absolutely. So, CJ, do you have special, obviously you've gone through a tough time. Your family, are there special things they need support?
Well, they do need support, and Ms. Denny, I thank you for asking. You know, people don't expect these things to happen. You know,
no.
They don't expect, and then financial burdens come upon them. I know they're in the process of trying to get a ramp built because his mother do not have health care knowledge on the hospitals have been trying to teach her things, but from me having health care experience, I know just how tedious that can be, and the expense of it, things that he would need personally, which you know, I can't say just on air because of the HIPAA law. There's things that this kid would need and the mother would need, and I ask anyone in the television audience if they can help.
They need
please
a ramp
help
built.
This family, right?
Yeah.
They need a ramp, and like I said again, there's other things that he's gonna need when he goes home to help him personally, and because of the HIPAA law, I cannot state those
Well, he
things.
came from the hospital today to be
Right.
with us, and he's going to be released from the hospital in a few days, and our thoughts and prayers go with you. And I thank you for coming and doing this. And Jack, what you're doing is tremendous, and a lot of people don't realize what it is you have started.
Thank you.
And you have a support group. I mean, you have other people who work.
Yes.
Well, you can't do it all alone.
Oh no, I have other people around me. We just been bothered recently by so many guns right here in Greenville. Right, you know, we had the isolated incident in Clinton, but right here in Greenville with so many teens, you know, even the ones that attacked the guy on the bicycle, you know, pointed the gun at him, and they're teens as well, you know, and it's very sad.
So they need, of course, parents in the home, and that's
Right.
one of the big problems.
Right.
Yeah. So if you're a parent, talk to your kids, and know who your children's friends are.
That's correct. That is correct, Miss Denny.
Yeah. And we hope that CJ can go back to Berea Middle School, play football again, and pick up your studies. And Jack, keep in touch.
I will.
And if somebody wants to help, you can call that number and you can get involved. And here are the shirts. If somebody wants one of these shirts, what do they do?
It's called that number.
Okay.
It's called that number.
Put down the guns, young people. because we all want to feel safe. It doesn't matter how old you are. If you go out of your house, and you don't even have to leave your house. Look what happened to
Right.
CJ right inside the house. Jack, thank you.
And thank you,
Bless
Ms. Denny, for having
Bless you.
us.
Wherever you are, we need to really concentrate on making this a better, safer place. And it's up to all of us. Stay happy. We'll see you next time.